All right, this is a core balance and mobility workout routine, advanced level number 3. So this is the last one of the series. Before we begin, I just want to let you guys know that some of these workouts are a little advanced. They're pretty tough. So if you feel you're not able to safely do these exercises, if you're not able to do them pain-free, or you're not able to do them while maintaining proper body mechanics and posture, I would love to help you out with that. So email me if you have any questions. I actually have a chart, so I'll send you the chart on how to scale those down. Okay, so just be safe with this. All right, going on now, let's begin with some inchworms. So an inchworm, I'm going to start with just standing tall, and I'm going to put my hands down on the ground, hinging primarily at the hips, though I can have a little bit of curvature in the back on this one. And then I'm going to walk my hands out into a push-up position, and then I'm going to walk my feet into my hands, and then I can stand up from there. Then I'll kind of do it in reverse. So I'll set the hands down, I'll walk the feet out into a push-up position, I'll walk the hands in to the feet, and then I'll stand up from there. So I'll just do 5 of these inchworms. Just little feet. Not only are you working the stretch, but you're working the dynamic loading and strengthening of your shoulders and your hips. Good. Next, you're going for some standing wide stance, back bend, and shoulder turn, okay? So I'll stand with a wide stance here. I'll show you from this angle. And I'm going to then do, well, it's not necessarily like a back bend. I don't want you to round your back. I just want you to really stick your hips forward, hyperextending at the hip. Arm is raised up. My head, and I'm just going to push my hands. I'm going to flex my hands and my head and hold that for 5 seconds. I'll do it one side, then I'll do it from behind, and I'll do it from the other side, and then from in the front. I'm working my neck muscles, I'm working my traps, my upper back muscles a little bit too. Standing hugs are next. Stand up and just do a hug stretch here. Opening up your scapula, having your shoulder blades really stretch out. I can split the 15 seconds and switch which arm is on top. Good. Split stance calf stretch. Take a split stance, lunge stance. But for this one, I'm going to keep the back heel down. And I'm going to feel that stretch in my lower leg, the back side of my lower leg, on the trailing leg. I'll show you from this side, and I just want you to notice I guess I'll show you from this side, my back toe. Now, I don't want to stretch it like this. I've got to make sure that my toes are pointing straight ahead. That way I'm getting the whole calf muscle there. Arm swings 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to have first some arm swings across my body. I'm going to do 8 repetitions of each of these. Let your chest open up. Then I'm going to do having my arms go overhead and down by my side, as much range of motion as I can, and active. And then I'll have my arms working in opposition. Big range of motion, especially back here. Great. Standing trunk rotations next. So for this one, I'm going to, I can take a wide stance, and I'm going to basically do this is what I mean by a trunk turn. So notice, I'm pivoting on my feet, so my feet are turning, my hips are turning with my feet, as are my shoulders and my head, okay? I get into an athletic stance here. Soft knees and soft hips. And then I'm going to be transferring my weight from side to side. So I'm loaded on this leg here as I turn to that side, and then I turn to the other side. And notice that my shoulders are staying level. And I'm going to be really driving off of this leg. Drive off that leg. Change directions quickly. Good. Then we got, okay, for the next few, come over to the wall. This one's going to be a standing plantar flexion stretch. So I'm up against the wall, and I'm going to put the top of my foot on the mat, this leg, back leg, and I'm going to be pointing the toe and stretching the foot into a pointed toe position. Getting both sides. Actively point the toe and then get a little bit more assistance by pulling the foot this way. Wide and narrow squats are next. Okay, so let me do my wide ones first. Your heels are going to be down wider than hip width, and think of the squat in 3 parts. You're standing tall first. You're hinging at the hips second, while maintaining that neutral spine, not getting into a rounded position. And then third, I'm bending the knees and dropping as low as I can. Now with a wide squat, it's really intense on your inner thighs, your groin area. So that's really what we've got to stretch out. And then you can see from this angle, I don't want to let the knees cave in, okay? I got to keep the knees tracking wide, and I got to keep my heels down. So just go as low as you can. At first, if this is a tight one for you, and you're having trouble with your knee angle and your heels, go down nice and slow. And you can add speed as you feel confident to. 8 repetitions of that one, and then we're going to bring our feet in so that our heels are down narrower than our hips, almost together. Now this one is going to be very intense for your ankle. So this is really going to be a test for ankle mobility. And same body mechanics. I want to think about keeping the heels down. I'm going to angle the torso. I'll send the hips back, and then I'll sink down from there. And then it's even harder on this one to keep your spine from rounding. It's really easy to round, but you're going to have to really work your abdominals and your upper back to keep your body mechanics. Keep your neutral spine. And yeah, if your ankles are tight on this one, you're going to have to work on it. And again, only going as far as you can while keeping your heels down and keeping your knees, even from this closer stance, from caving in. Feels really good though once you break out of that. Standing one leg balance with eyes closed. So hold onto the wall for balance as needed, and then, yeah, we're just going to hold one foot out in front and try to close your eyes while you do it. And it's quite a trick because it's really amazingly more difficult when you can't see. And it's a really good test for the true strength of your foot when balancing, instead of relying so much on your visual aid. It's an interesting test, so give it a shot. Do about 15 seconds each side to start with. Standing W pulls are next. So for this one, I can have a narrow base with my feet. I can hinge slightly forward at the waist. Arms can be relaxing to start. And then I'm going to pull my arms back into a W shape. Notice that the elbows are below the shoulders. And I'm really trying to drive my elbows and my wrists back as far as I can. And then I'll relax and repeat, getting 8 repetitions. And really pausing at the back end for a moment, controlling that. 8 W pulls. Standing front kicks. So here I'm just going to give a kick straight out. Bring the knee high and then extend the heel out. Drive with the heel. And I'll just alternate legs. What I don't want to do is round my back when I lift my knee. Instead, I want to think about being really strong through the down leg so that that's what drives that knee high. And I do about 8 kicks each side. And then I can do a side kick, okay? So now for this one, I'm going to lean. I'm going to open up at the hip here so that my whole torso and my head lean to one side. That way I can bring the knee up and then extend it out. Again, leading with the heel. And then I can just switch from side to side. I go 1, 2, 3, kick. 1, 2, 3, kick. It'll work your balance, dynamic balance exercise here. And it'll open up your inner thighs. And I want to do about, pick the knee up first and then extend it out. Great. Okay, freestanding handstand. You're going to try to do a freestanding handstand next, and you're just going to hold that position for as long as you can. Be careful if you're tight on space and you're not familiar with this one yet. Just be safe with this, okay? But what you're going to do is you're just going to try to kick up into a handstand position, and you'll hold that for as long as you can. Now, I think some of the keys here is, first of all, stay strong through your arms. Never let your arms relax. You have to, even when I'm starting to set up, I'm establishing this right away, and I never lose that as I go around. Okay, and then you can see I'm going to do a little, it's basically like a one-legged deadlift motion. I want to place my hands down as close as I comfortably can to my leg that's down in front. And I want to place them down. I don't want to get too much momentum here. Otherwise, I'm just going to topple over around the other side. Okay, and then once I feel I've taken my weight through, I want to get to this position so that my arms are overhead. Okay, if I stay here, I'm never going to be able to balance it. So I have to get to here, and then from there, I need to stay really stiff through my abdominals, through my legs, pointing the toe, everything really tight. And you'll try to accumulate about 15 seconds on this one. It's a good challenge. Give it a shot. Okay, next we're going to go to a standing quad stretch. So for this one, hold onto the wall for balance as needed. Extend through one leg strong, and then kick the other leg back, and you're going to get a quad stretch here. Now I don't want you to feel on this one that you're yanking on your knee too much. I actually want you to feel, I want you to feel it all through the leg. But if you feel like you're pulling on the knee too much, you may be a little too tight for this particular exercise. This is when you want to scale down. So another thing I want to think about, though, is I want to be active in my glutes back here. I want to be flexing my leg back. And I also want to be flexing my foot, which will protect your knee a little bit more. And you can feel that stretch a little bit higher in your quad, your hip flexor. 15 seconds each side. Let's do a bent over skiir row next. So feet together, a little hinge at the hip, arms relaxed to start. Then squeeze the shoulder blades to bring the arms back, and then relax. We'll do 8 of these here. Really try to open up be able to increase your mobility, reaching back. The strength of your upper back. We're going to jump in place next. So this is just going to be a 2-footed jump. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can jump up, land soft, reset, and go again. Or you can make it a continuous jump in place. But what I want you to notice is that both styles of jump, what is going on. So when I come down, especially for my the jump, if I'm going to reset, this is where I'll be. I'm going to come down every time to reaching the arms back, bending at the hips, a little bend in the knees, and then I'll end up rotating the arms through, extending through the ankles, knees, hips, the shoulders rotate. I'll be in the air, and then I'll land. It'll be the ball of the foot to the heel, sweep the arms back, and then if I want to reload, I can reload from there. Okay? And even if I don't reload, I'll catch here, stand back up, and then I'll try it again. And a soft landing, soft landing. Do about 8 of those. A front step lunge will be next. I'm going to, I'll just be stepping forward into it, dropping one knee back, dropping it down. Notice the torso angle here, slight forward lean. So this way I'm going to be loading up the back of my leg, not just the quad here. And also another cue is not to lift the front heel. So if I lift the front heel, I stick the knee up, and I'm leaning too far back, that's not going to be great for my knee. I'm not going to have nearly as much strength there. As compared to if I shift the hips back, keep the heel down, and have a little forward angle with the torso, then push off of your heel, you're going to have a lot more strength, a lot more control, because you're going to be using the back of your leg. It's going to feel better for your knee. And then watch the knee angle here. Don't let it cave in. Keep it tracking directly over the foot. And I'll do about 8 each side. Front step lunges. Okay, next I'm going to jump into a forward roll. Okay, so if you're just working on your forward roll, you don't have to jump into it. But if you're feeling confident with it, you can actually get a jump into, or just a little bit of momentum into your forward roll. Now the keys with this are, and I'll just do one so you can see, I'm going to extend, place the palms down, and then I'm going to tuck the knee under, tuck the head under. Nice, actually a rounded back on this one so that you have a concave surface of your body. So you're just gonna roll, okay? You're gonna roll around. You're gonna keep those hips tucked so that they come around real smooth, and then you try to get right back up onto your feet, okay? Do about 5 of these. Take your time on them so that you don't get too dizzy. But that's fun to do, and I think it just feels really good to do it. It feels good to spin like that. It's pretty fun. Standing arm circles. You just stand tall, flex your legs, brace your abdominals, and then get some decent sized arm circles with a quick tempo. Reverse it, get 8 both directions. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on the back end of the movement every time you come around. Standing arm curls are next. So I'm going to flex my arm here, really flex up. Keep the elbow right in, fixed in space right there. And then I'm just going to bend and extend at the elbow here. Make the fist tight. And then just start with 8 repetitions. 3-step agility running. So this one I'm going to come across. I'm going to do we'll first get in position. Athletic position here. Soft knees and hips. And then I'm going to be working my arms and legs in opposition. And I'm going to do a step together. Step, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'll do each direction. See that big step. And then 2 steps gathering. Okay. That one's fun. Can skip. So I'm going to be skipping, but I'm going to do 2 skips on each leg, and the first one's going to come up, and then the second time it's going to come out, and then I'm going to switch feet. Okay. So go up, out, coordination here and some good hip mobility as well. So 8 each leg there. Next will be a karaoke with a high knee run. So this is going to be like that 3-step movement again, but this time I'm going to do my first step across is going to be across my body, and then these 2 steps gather, and then I come across again. And I want you to really drive the knee up higher than hip height on each crossover step. Working your arms too. Each side. Okay, down to the mat we go. Let's next do some push-up position, knee tuck, foot slides. Okay, so for this, you come to a sliding surface. I'm going to put my mat on the hardwood floor here. And I want my toes on the mat. I'm going to get into a push-up position. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck my knees into my chest, and then I'm going to extend them back out. I'm going to try not to change the position of my spine too much. This is really going to work my hip flexors, my lower abdominals. Bring those knees all the way up to the elbows and fully extend on each repetition. Next, I'm going to do some arch holds with my arms extended. Lying down. And squeeze your glutes to lift your knees off the mat. Squeeze your shoulder blades to lift your head off the mat. And you're up in this Y position overhead. And just hold that, squeeze it for 15 seconds. Have your thumbs up in the ceiling. And then relax. Let's do some side plank leg lifts next. Go into a side plank. We're going to lift the knees and hips, keep the hips high, and then just lift the top leg. And notice you don't want to rotate the hip, you're just lifting the hip. Leading with your heels. Go with a pretty quick tempo, but try to have control. Try to keep your hips up and keep your head back so that your body's in a straight line. Flip over to a bicycle crunch. Now on the bike crunch, you're just going to crunch up a little bit, and then I'm going to rotate my shoulders just this little bit. Okay, so I don't need to really crank my back on this exercise. It's just this holding this position with a little bit of turn as my legs, one is extended out and the other I bend in and I tuck in as tight as I can. So then I'll just switch. I like this tempo here, controlling on both ends of the motion. Each side. Kneeling hip circles. I'm in a kneeling position. Strong through your arms. Keep your hips level. Keep your spine in a neutral position. And then you'll kick one leg out straight as far as you can, and then circle it around. We can go with a pretty quick tempo here, but really extend the leg on every repetition and bring it around as far as you can every time. Excellent hip exercise here for hip mobility and hip strength. Okay, good. Strict sit-ups are next. And well, you may or may not be able to do it fully strict, but you're going to try to minimize the amount of momentum that you get on this exercise. And if you do get momentum, you can get it from the lifting of your feet off the ground that little bit, okay? And wherever you want to place your hands, by your head, behind your head, cross over your body. Just don't crank your neck too much on this one. And just as strict as you can, get your sit-up. You can see my posture on this one. I'm really going to be more efficient at completing this exercise if I do have a little bit of round of my thoracic spine, the up top, but I want to minimize the amount of rounding of my lumbar spine in this exercise. And one other little tip, I find it's really useful to kind of stick the stomach in, and then right when you're about to go, you push it out. That'll give you that little bit of momentum that you need to get all the way up. All right, push-ups are next. Let's just try to do perfect push-ups, 8 repetitions. If you need a little incline, I would recommend that you do an incline so that you can get full range of motion while keeping the posture. And the posture's got to be where the hips and the shoulders are rising and falling at the same rate. Your chest and thighs should touch the ground at the same time. And then your arms should not round or shrug. You shouldn't have your elbows flaring. They should actually be more at this like 30-degree angle. Not here, about 30 degrees. Okay? Squeezing the legs really helps to take some of the weight off of your chest. You're going to distribute the weight evenly. Brace your abdominals. I like this tempo. Control at the bottom, control at the top. Good. Okay, we'll do a hands down bridge. One arm, one leg. So we've been working on this bridge, and I'm going to bridge my hands up, bridge my hips up, and then from here, I'm going to lift opposite arm and leg. So I have my left leg down, my right arm down. I'm going to try to, as much as possible, try to stay square with my shoulders and my hips. Get my hips up as high as I can. I'll try both sides. Oh yeah, this is good. I'm having to lift my shoulder a little bit because I don't have the mobility of my down shoulder yet. So we'll work on that. 15 seconds each side. Side lying hip circles. Yeah, I'll lie on my side. I'll extend my legs and my body's totally straight. I'll lift one leg out a little above the other, point the toe, and then I'm going to draw a little bit of a circle. Tiny circle, but try to make every circle precise and exactly the same. I'll do 8 on my right, and I'll do 8 on my left. Just a small movement, working on our precision. Let's do some push-up bottom holds. So we're going back to the push-up, and this time we're just going to hold the bottom of the position, hovering right above the ground, and try to hold that for 15 seconds, okay? We'll see if we can do it. Ready? Here we go. It's going to really burn. You can choose to do this from your knees or drop the knees down, but try to hold your torso in this same position relative to the ground. 15-second hold. Lying hamstring curls. I'll lie flat on my mat, belly down. I can keep my knees on the ground to start, but if I feel like I'm able to actually lift the knees by squeezing my glutes, then I can try to do it that way as well. Ease your way into this exercise. I don't want you to cramp your hamstring, which is likely to happen if you go too much too soon. But what you'll do here now is you're just going to bend and extend the knee, flexing the hamstrings to make this motion happen. Yeah, go really slow and controlled at first because this is a vulnerable one, but if we do it right, it can be very effective. We're going to do some full rolls while extended. So what this one is, I'm going to be starting whether I'm on my back or my front. I'll start on my front, and what I'm going to try to do is keep my knees and my lower leg and my elbows and my arms off of the mat while I roll around. So here I'm in an arch position, and then I come around and I'm in a hollow position. I can do one more roll this way, and then maybe I'll roll back. And it's really working my core to make this motion happen. I can do about 5 rolls each direction. We'll go for some bear crawl steps next. So how much ever room, you can use as much room as you have for this, but I'll just demonstrate it in this small space where I'm in a bear crawl position. So my knees are up, the ball of my foot is down, and my palms are down. So I'm here, and my hips can be above my shoulders, but I don't want to be rounding too intensely my spine. I want to try to keep it as neutral as possible. And then I'm just going to take a couple of these crawling steps forward, and then I'll take a couple backward. Really great exercise for our core, hips, ankle mobility, shoulder stability. It might look a little funny, but I'm telling you what, it's a really effective exercise. Give it a shot. Bridge foot walks are next. So I'm going to lie on my back for this one, and I'm going to extend my hips up. And then what I'm going to do, and this is another one, careful with the hamstring, ease your way into this, all right? But what you'll do is you're just going to be walking your heels out a little bit, and then walking them back up, back in towards your hips. Then you can widen your feet a little bit, and you can try it from there. And then maybe narrow your feet totally close together and try it that way. You want to do just about, I think I did more than 8 steps each side, but that's all you're looking to do. All right, let's do a pike to a seal. So, yeah, on your palms, on the balls of your foot, and you're going to pike up. Get your feet as close to your palms as you can while keeping a neutral spine. Feeling that stretch in the hamstrings. And then from there, you can walk your hands out, going into a push-up position, going beyond the push-up position, letting the hips drop, keeping the shoulders on the upward and the top of your foot down on the mat. Then I'll get back to the ball of my foot. I'll walk my hands in a little bit closer for my pike, and I'll repeat this motion 5 times. I'm doing a lot of things here all at once. Shoulder stability and strength, stretching your hip flexors, stretching your hamstrings. Not a bad one to throw into your routine. We'll do some clams next. I'm lying on my side, bent knees. I keep my feet together, and then I open my leg up to the side as high as I can while keeping the other knee on the mat. Hip opener here, inner thigh, also strengthening the inner thigh, outer thigh. And you can see some of these exercises, I mean, this is also an exercise that we do at the basic level. I still think it's beneficial at all levels to incorporate some of this stuff. Laying ham stretch with ankle pulses. Yeah, laying on your back. Kicking one knee out straight, the other one is bent up. I can grab behind my calf or my knee, and then I just flex and extend my toes here. I'll feel it in my hamstrings, the stretch, but of course also I'll feel it in my calf muscle. Both sides, 15 seconds each side. Great. Bretzel knee lifts. This is a tough exercise, okay? So get into the pretzel stretch first, where one leg is crossed in front, the other leg is crossed behind. And then what we're going to try to do is lift this back knee, okay? Upright torso position as much as possible. So I'll lift that back knee up and minimize. I'm having to lean away a little bit. This is a really tough one for me. But it's really going to get the outside of your glutes. Both sides. And lean away from it as much as you need to start. But ultimately, we try not to rock like this. We want to try to keep it just a hip moving exercise. Mountain climber stretch and rotate. So get in with one leg forward up by your palms. The other knee is extended back. And then I'm going to rotate toward my front leg side. Rotate the shoulders around. I think about kind of extending the hips through here, maybe even arching the back a little bit and reaching the arms straight up in the air and have the eyes looking up at the hand. 15 seconds each side. This stretch feels amazing on your hips, on both sides, front and back. All right, next we'll do a lying knee tuck. Extend one leg out straight and tuck the other knee. And just really tuck it in as tight as you can. Feel the stretch all throughout the hip girdle. Child's pose with elbows down is next. I'm going to kind of grab onto the back of my head like this. I'm going to place my elbows down on the mat, and then I'm going to sit my hips back, which will effectively pull my arm back further into this stretch. Sit the hips back to the heels. Try to have your arms so that they're not like this. Try to actively rotate them out when you're in this stretch. So your wrists, elbows, and shoulders are all in line. Kneeling hip flexor stretch and rotate. It's a half kneel, one knee up. Push the hips through to initiate the stretch on the hip flexor here, and then rotate around toward the front leg side. Reaching your arm behind you, looking your eyes around as well. 15-second stretch on each side. Yeah, here again, we're really opening this up. Arms across, deltoid stretch. Any position for this one, I'll stay in this kneeling position. Just reach the arm across, get a little extra pull with the other arm, and feel it across your deltoid here. 15 seconds each side. All right, great, you guys. One more stretch for today is the pigeon stretch. I'll cross one leg in front, I'll extend the other leg out straight behind, point the toes, and then I'll sit back, sit my hips and my shoulders back. I can have a little bit of a forward lean here, and there's a couple ways to do this. The first version is to make sure that you keep your shoulders square. The second version is, and you might be able to do this while keeping the shoulders square, which is great, but for most of us, I think we have to open up the shoulders in order to get the hips down. But you can also stretch it that way. And then another way to do it is to have your body fall over in front of your front leg. Always can be good. And if I'm sitting my torso more upright, I'm going to get more of a hip flexor stretch. And if I'm leaning forward more, I'm going to be focusing more on my glute of my front leg. All right, we're going to conclude today's workout with a hand and forearm massage. So you're going to just take one hand and massage out the other. You're just going to be pressing in, squeezing, manipulating the tissue of your hand, getting blood flow to the area, helping your lymphatic system push some of the toxins back to the liver. Then we can work our way up to our forearm. Squeeze out, feel all those tendons in there and all the muscles. You can switch sides. Do about a minute on each hand. Get each finger, kind of pull on the fingers. It feels really good to do a hand massage. Even better if you had one of your partners that could give you a massage, or going to get a proper sports massage would be the best thing to do. Well, that'll conclude our workout for today. Thank you so much for participating. Leave me a comment and let me know how it went. And I'll look forward to putting out some new videos soon.